I had first met McDermott a decade earlier, when he was the newly minted CEO of SAP, the German software company. The occasion was the World Business Forum, a massive event held at Radio City Music Hall for aspiring executives from multiple companies. McDermott was getting ready to speak. I was there to interview Jack Welch, the former CEO of General Electric, still considered a legend and a role model for the up-and-coming business leader. So when McDermott and I met again in mid-2020, we began to talk about Welch, who had died earlier that year at age 84. Jack Welch, at the end of the 20th century, he was it when it came to leadership, I said. His book, Jack, Straight from the Gut, sold like crazy. He developed a whole generation of CEOs who went on to lead Boeing, Home Depot, 3M, etc. He was a phenomenally successful businessman who increased shareholder value at GE 100-fold. But there is a sense that the rules of the game have changed pretty dramatically since he left the stage. I wonder if you could talk about that. McDermott, who remembered with pleasure our conversation backstage with Welch and his wife Susie, said, "Jack was an incredible force of nature and figured you had to be number 1 and 2 in any business and held people highly accountable, and if you didn't perform, you didn't last long. I think that is absolutely a leadership style that proved to be highly successful for him. But I do think the rules of the game have changed so much. There's a bigger war for talent now than I believe there ever has been. I believe you have to create cultures that have an enormous focus on purpose, and you have to create environments where people feel inspired to come to work." The good news, according to McDermott, is that the pendulum has really swung more towards a leader being absolutely in service to the employees and absolutely finding new ways to inspire them, new ways to innovate, new ways to bring out the best in them. And the accountability is actually in unleashing the entrepreneurial spirit itself versus managing things hard line. So there's a soft touch that you need today that's pretty unique. None of this, of course, means that big businesses have become paragons of virtue, or that the rules of human nature have been repealed. Greed-driven misbehavior always has been and always will be part of the business landscape. Many, if not most of the companies mentioned in this book, have been involved in activities that cast shadows over their more altruistic efforts. J.P. Morgan was home to the London whale scandal, where a single trader accumulated outsized positions in credit default swaps that led to a $6 billion loss and called into question the bank's risk management systems. Google, despite its initial "Don't be evil" motto, has been dogged by accusations that its business has been built on its misappropriation of other people's work, and that its search engine favors its own services over outside competitors. Apple, like many of its tech brethren, manipulates global rules to pay an unconscionably low rate of tax on its activities. Facebook is currently embroiled in a debate about whether its business model deliberately encourages toxic speech and misinformation. Like the people who work for them, these companies are complex organizations, capable of doing bad as well as good. But something clearly has changed. The demands that companies deliver for society as well as for shareholders, from employees, from customers, from investors, and from society at large, have intensified. The incentives to behave in ways that benefit the broader needs of people and the planet have become more woven into the very structure of business. And the consequences for taking a narrow, Friedman-esque view of corporate responsibility have been dramatically heightened. Business is evolving, not in a straight or unbroken line, and perhaps not as fast as many would like, but in a clearly discernible direction.